Hey guys, so today let's talk about Speedlight top secret. Of course, there are a lot of secret in Speedlight, so I'm going to be cracking them together. Let's go. Come on, so what are Speedlights? Speedlight are basically radar technology that is used to determine the speed of a driver. Of course, the DVLA, they used it to determine traffic offender. If you run through the red light, you overspeed, all those things. That's what they use the Speedlight for. There are different types of speed camera. So let's talk about the first one, which is the speed camera itself. The speed camera, they are like the cartoon headed cameras. Most of us, we usually see them, most of the time they are one-way cameras that is used to track the speed of a driver. If it is 30, if you are running more than 30, or if you are doing more than 30, the speed camera will automatically capture you. And then of course it will be sent to the DVLA server, notify them that somebody has overspeed, and then of course before you know it, you're going to have a letter in your mailbox. All right, so most of the time you usually have the allowance. It is called 10% plus 2 allowance, which means that if a particular speed is 30, most of the time it is until you are getting to 36, 35, 36, that's when you likely receive a letter from the DVLA. So, but albeit I've had a lot of people who claim that they have received a letter on a 30 road and they were on 33, 32. So it's better to be safe than to be sorry. Of course, it's always there. The allowance is always there. But like I said, it's better for you to be safe than to be sorry. You want to say because the allowance is there, you want to be running 35, 34 on a 30 road. Please, it's not good. It applies to 70 road too. So on a 70 road, you shouldn't be doing more than 70. But albeit, like I said, there is always the 10% plus 2 allowance, which means on the 70, 10% of 70 is 7 plus 2, making 9. So 9 plus 70 is 79. But albeit, don't forget, you should always maintain the main speed of that particular. If it is 70, ensure you stay at 70. Next camera that is also very important is the average speed camera, which is also very similar to the speed camera, but they don't perform the same function. They perform different functions. But before I talked about that, please kindly subscribe if you have not done so. Please kindly do. All right, so let's talk about the average speed camera. The average speed camera, from the word average, they calculate the average from one position to another. If you are pushing an average speed camera, you will see a notification telling you that this is an average speed camera and you need to be careful. The average speed camera is most of the time better than the speed camera, because sometimes you might be lost in thought, you might be carried away. If you just go through the speed camera, maybe you are on a 30 road, you are on 35, 36, and you go to the speed camera, you will automatically get a letter. But on an average speed camera, you usually have 2 to 3 cameras. They are always positioned at about, I think, 200 meters away most of the time from each other. So 200 meters away from each other. So if you are on a 30 road and you see an average speed camera, if you are on 36, most of the time the first one is not going to capture you. So before you get to the second one, ensure you reduce your speed from the word average. Let's say you enter to the first one at 36 and you notice that, you were supposed to be on 30 and you reduce your speed and you enter to the second one at, let's say 26 or 24. By the time the average is calculated, you'll be on 30. You are not going to be penalized. You're not going to receive a letter. It happens to me sometimes ago. I was lost in thought. I was thinking, I don't know, this particular road was an average speed camera. It was a 30 road. I was on like 33 or 34. I can't remember now. So I was just thinking, well, I noticed, this is an average speed camera. I was lost in thought. Before I got to the second one, I reduced my speed drastically. I ensured that I just went through at about 20, 22, so that my average will still be within 20. And I was nothing. I didn't receive anything. And that is average speed cameras. So they perform different functions. You always see an average camera within a community on a major road, you always see them. And then the another thing is, most people think that every speed camera are always in yellow color. No. There are a lot of speed cameras that are not yellow. If you are very conversant and you are very observant, you will see that there are some speed cameras that are gray in color, and then they are not all in yellow. Did you get it now? So it's not until you see yellow that you see it's a speed camera. They might be in another color and they are still going to capture if you're faint or if you run to if you overspeed. So you have to be very, 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 very careful. The other camera I would like to talk about is the mobile speed camera. This is the mobile speed camera. Most of the time, the police usually use it, and they, it's just like a van. It's just like all this police car that usually have radar technology. They have the capacity to capture the speed of a driver. So they are mobile camera, like from the world mobile, they move them from one place to another to areas where they feel like people are likely going to overspeed, but there are no speed camera. So they will just position it. They will just position the radar technology. They will just position their van there with the radar technology to capture. Most of the time, this mobile camera can capture as close as 2 meters away. So as close as 2 meters, if you are over speeding, it will capture you, and then before you know it, you will automatically receive a letter at home. Please, I don't want you to receive a letter. So drive carefully, which is very, 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 very important. Don't overspeed. It's very, very important. So I've talked about the mobile camera. Of course, the other question is, mobile camera, do they capture, or what's it called, emotion? Most of the time, they don't capture emotion. Most of the time, they usually capture in statics. That means they have to be positioned. They have to park it. Maybe, for example, you're driving, you just notice automatically maybe you're overspeeding, or you're a little running above the speed, and you see a police on a mobile camera vehicle or van, and then you are scared. Oh, hope they didn't capture you. Most of the time they are always static. But how be it, a police can determine your speed if you are over speeding, and then they can touchlight you. You know what I mean by touchlight you? And if they touchlight you, they can give you a fine immediately. Please always ensure that you don't overspeed. All right, the next thing I would like to talk about before I talk about the speed spike camera, which is also very, very important, is the fact that if you just receive your license, most of the time you have 6 points on your license. You have 6 points on your license. So after 2 years, if you drive without committing any offense, 6 points will be added to your license point again. It will make it 12 points. So it means that as a new driver, if you commit an offense for the first time and then 3 points is gone, you have 3 points left. If you commit another one within the space of 2 years, my dear, support the law, it means that your license is invalid again. You have to go and write and do another theory and do another practical again. This time it's going to be very rigorous, and you don't want to pass through the process. So my advice is always drive carefully. Maintain the speed limit. Whether there are cameras there or there is no camera, just ensure you obey the rule. You obey the rule of the speed camera. The next thing I would like to talk about, which is the red light camera. The red light camera, most of the time, they usually capture traffic offender if you run through the red light. I remember there was a time I was probably going somewhere and somebody met me on the way, and then he said, guy, I didn't know I mistakenly ran through the red light. I said, what? Okay, is there speed cameras there? It wasn't sure, so I just pop up my app. I quickly checked if there was red light camera. You know, there are two different things. You have the red light camera and you have the speed camera. The red light camera, so I just quickly pop out to say if there are red light camera, and it said there was no red light camera in that particular location. I said, you should not worry, there's no red light camera. And because there are no red light camera does not mean that you should be running red light. If there is anything, if anything happens, most of the time there's always camera at every roundabout. They might not be red light camera, but they could be reference camera, in the sense that if anything happens, they will usually go back to those camera and then check who is at fault, and you can't be penalized. So please always ensure you obey the traffic rule. Then lastly, I'll talk about the speed spike camera. But before that, if you have not subscribed again, kindly do. The speed spike camera and the long range camera, they're higher technology. Most of the time they can perform multi-function. You know, when I mean by multifunction, they can do the job of a speed camera, they can do the job of a traffic light camera. So if the speed camera, if you are over speeding, they can capture you. And secondly, if you run through the red light, they will also be captured. They can also capture you. Unlike the speed camera that captures in one direction, most of the time the speed spike camera, because they're higher technology camera, they can capture in both directions. Don't forget, the speed light camera, they capture in one direction, the direction the camera is facing. That's what most of the time the speed light camera, like the cartoon-headed camera, they only capture in one direction. So if you are running, if you are driving and you see a camera beside you, and then the camera is facing forward and you are going forward, most of the time the camera is capturing your speed. And if you are coming back, if you are coming on the opposite of the camera, most of the time the camera is not capturing the car that are coming in the opposite. I mean, this the main cartoon cameras, because most of the time they are one-way direction camera. The only time you see those cameras capturing both directions is that you will see them in two. You will see one by your right, you will see another speed camera by the left. It means that one is capturing the first direction, the other one is capturing the what's called the downward direction. So, but unlike the speed light camera, a single one of them can do both jobs together. That is the speed spike camera for you. They can capture the speed light, they can capture the traffic light, and then there are long range cameras. They can capture far, even at a much more further distance. So in conclusion, we've talked about the speed light. They capture basically in one direction, the cartoon-headed camera. Of course, you have to be careful. We talked about the average camera. We talked about the mobile camera. Then we talked about the traffic light camera and the speed spike camera. I'm sure you've been able to learn one or two things. See you till we meet in the next video. I love you all. Cheers.